My name is Louis-Pierre Pharand. Everybody calls me LP. That's my tagline. I said it this morning. I'll say it always. A lot less complicated. I'm really honored to be invited to be here today and to talk about the group that I lead, UB Workshop. I'll make a really quick introduction of what I do. I'm a transmedia producer, and I lead the group UB Workshop, which is a division of Ubisoft. What is Ubisoft? I'll have a few corporate slides so you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was founded in 1986. It's a French company based in Paris. And Ubisoft is a leading producer, publisher, and distributor of interactive entertainment products worldwide, meaning we're developing and producing video games. We have 6,500 employees worldwide, 5,500 dedicated to production. We are present in 26 countries. We distribute in 55, and we have development studios in 23 development studios in 16 countries. If you want more information, go to ub.com. Okay, Ubisoft. Ubisoft, we're developing games, a lot of games. People have the tendency to put all the games in the same basket. I've separated two kinds of games today. One of them is the AAA brands. AAA brands, the old expression was that you need to sell 1 million units on the 3 main platforms. It's pretty much it's an old expression, AAA games actually. So if you sell 1 million on Sony's platform, the PlayStation, 1 on Xbox, and 1 on PC, then you got your 3 million, you're considered AAA. Today, if you're a million unit seller, you're considered a AAA brand. Assassin's Creed for us, with the next installment coming out in on November 15th, Assassin's Creed Revelations so far has sold worldwide 30 million units. Tom Clancy, we own the rights to Tom Clancy, and we've developed games on multiple titles. The 3 main ones, Rainbow Six, Splinter Cell, and Ghost Recon, have sold close, all of them together. Each of them sold close to 20 million each. Prince of Persia, 17 million units sold so far. And last but not least, in the big brands, we have Far Cry, 7 million units sold. Far Cry 2 is the game I produced. It's the last game I've worked on before switching to UB Workshop, developing new IPs, and working in transmedia. Actually, it's an extremely popular game here in Germany. If we go to casual brands, which usually are on different platforms and for a different target audience, you have pets. You can see that the assassin and the dogs, it's a little bit different. The pets have sold so far 23 million units, and it was extremely popular a few years ago. It still is, and its platform of choice is a Nintendo DS. The Imagine series, again, different target audience than the AAA brands, have sold 20 million units so far. Rayman, which is actually one of the first characters created within the company, we have a title coming out really soon, Rayman Origin on Xbox 360, but is also present on Nintendo DS, and it sold so far 20 million units. Just Dance, I'm pretty sure some of you have danced to the beat of this game, and we're launching a new one, Just Dance 3, which is going to be a dancing game using the technology of Kinect developed by Microsoft, and it's a very young brand, and it's already sold 15 million units. Raving Rabbits, those crazy rabbits, I'm pretty sure you know them, 11 million units sold. And the sellers, I'm pointing this out because it's made in Germany, and it is extremely popular in Germany. And this game has sold so far 9 million units. What's interesting is that here you have brands that are worldwide brands, and Settlers is a good example of a brand that is extremely popular on one territory, but not necessarily worldwide. So, UB Workshop is a transmedia group based at Ubisoft Montreal. We are 2,200 employees in Montreal, and we are the biggest development studio in the world, actually. What we do, we consult with multiple brands to establish the right narrative strategy. In Montreal, as an example, we have the Assassin's Creed brand, Far Cry, Rainbow Six. We have different games that you haven't heard of because they're secret, but we're still working with those guys. And what we do, we work as consultants to make sure that when they develop the narrative of their game, they think a little bit wider, and that they use the philosophy of transmedia. We create narrative products that are non-gaming, and that's part of a larger brand strategy. UB Workshop, we produce content, but we produce content that are not games. We let the game teams do the game, and we connect ourselves to them. We produce and oversee all of our narrative products. UB Workshop will not license something. We create and produce. We make sure of the quality of what we develop, and that is key to us, and it's something that we will always follow. We have an hybrid approach, actually, because we create, produce, and sometimes publish. UB Workshop is a publishing house. We're publishing 3 books this year, and this is why it is crucial for us to be at the book fair this year. We create, produce, and sometimes partner with publishers. In certain territories, you know, publishers will know more of the market than we do, and we partner with them to make sure that we're a hit. And that is crucial for us, for each of the products we develop. So, that's Ubisoft on top and all these different brands, and Ubisoft is right in the middle. Are we going to do transmedia strategies for all of them? No way, because you have some titles in there that actually are non-narrative. But what is transmedia? You know, it's a great expression that we hear all the time, but it's kind of funny because we mix it up with another word. Transmedia is a storytelling world-building technique that results in a coordinated multi-platform brand, and each platform is a standalone narrative endeavor connected to the universe. It is not cross-media. That's the definition we use at UB Workshop. We don't consider ourselves transmedia gurus or anything like that. It's the definition that we use. And when we talk to the Henry Jenkins and the likes of Jeff Gomez, we kind of agree that this is kind of like the definition. I actually took this one off Wikipedia, modified it so it fits our needs and what we really believe once you start producing content. Cross-media is the same narrative outline on different platforms. The best example that we've experienced for a long time is you have the book, and the story of the book becomes a movie. That is cross-media. That's our definition. Some people might not agree, but that's the definition we use. And sometimes, yes, we do cross-media, and I will give you an example of that. Transmedia is also a buzzword, overly used. There are multiple articles on the web where they say transmedia is bullshit. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. Transmedia is not reinventing storytelling. At least that's our point of view. Storytelling has been going on for years, decades. I mean, since the dawn of time. You know, the wise men around the campfire telling stories. You know, if there were stories then, there are stories now, stories will continue. And we believe that even if we're developing stories on a video game format or any other format, you need great characters, you need a plot, you need a conclusion, you need acts. I mean, there are things in storytelling that are true to any medium. Transmedia is not only about storytelling on new mediums, which is something that I have to admit that I hear a lot. Because it's a new medium and you have a different take on storytelling, then it is transmedia. Not necessarily. It depends on what part of universe, of the narrative universe it's part of. And transmedia is not a marketing strategy. And it's not, you know, licensed products either. For us, it's true, you need to have a story. A figurine is not transmedia. A lot of marketing campaigns try to sell you that it is, but it is not. You need a story. If you don't have a story, then it's licensed products. Since 1977, we've experienced transmedia with Star Wars. They've done mistakes over the years, but they've done really, really great stuff. Who saw Star Wars when they were a kid? Please raise your hand. Who has kids? How many of you have kids that consume Star Wars? See, it's pretty much the same people. They were bright enough, you know, to give permanency to their brand so that the parents that were total fans back then, that are total fans today, that their kids consume the brand. And a good example of that is the Clone Wars TV series. They created a younger point of entry into the brand. I got 3 boys, 7, 5, and 3. They're not gonna watch the movies that I saw. I consider them to be too violent. But they will consume Clone Wars, which is perfect. And I love lightsabers, and we can talk about them, and we exchange. They're able to have the parent and the kid consume the same brand and have the same enthusiasm about that brand. And, you know, pretty much, I'm pretty sure that in 10 years from now, my kids will still be consuming Star Wars. They've done it really well with making sure that Lego Star Wars the game could be played a parent with its kid. They've made sure all through their strategy that the parent and the kid were together, because it's a brand that exists since the late 70s, and they've done that really well. For us, it's to create a new point of entry into the brand. That's a key element of our transmedia strategy for anything that we do. In the definition, there was the standalone project. It needs to be a standalone product. If we create something, I'll give an example, a comic book. The people consuming that comic book need to have a full experience of your brand. They don't need to know what happened in the video game. You need to deliver them a full experience. The fans that will consume the comic book, they need, and that's the trick, that's the tricky part, they need to have more for their money. They need to be even more engaged and immersed into your brand. And if you give them in the comic book the same story that in the game, you're not doing that. So that's why you need to create new standalone products that are completely independent from the storyline of the game, but directly connected to the universe. That's why, for us, it is crucial that it is always connected, and I'll give more example about that. Just forgot to click. For us, is also a good opportunity to explore unreached territories by the games. Don't forget that our main medium is the game, not a movie, not a book. You can get a book anywhere in the world. You can pretty much get a movie all across the globe. But it's not the same thing with a video game. Xbox 360s and PlayStations are not sold everywhere in the world, or they are not supported by the networks of these companies. So for us, it is crucial that when it does, the install rate of our brand is there using other mediums, books, comic books, or any other platform that are present in these territories. We might even adapt certain of our, I would say, narrative outlines for certain territories if it fits. And the Assassin's Creed universe actually allows us to do that. Push the technical convergence between games and CG animated mediums. We're still a game developer. We develop technology. UB Workshop is the people that compose this group are all ex-game developers. We understand the medium, and for us, technology is key. And I will give an example a little bit later on. But for us, it is definitely a goal. Thinking ahead by planting seeds, or what I call as well opening gateways. When you develop content, people are going to say, okay, when you guys are developing that entire story arc of Assassin's Creed, so you really write everything? No, we don't. But let's say a character gives someone a box that we don't open. That character gives that box to another character in the game. Well, we're planting a seed, and we never reveal what's in the box. That's technically a seed that could be used in the game later on, that could be used later on in a comic. Our comic book series is directly linked to Assassin's Creed 2, the game, because there's an artifact, a staff, that was in the second game that you see in the comic book. Only the fans that played the game know the connection, and they feel that they're in for a good ride. But the consumer that takes the comic book and reads it has a standalone experience, and that's what's crucial for us. And it is also a philosophy now that we've been working since the beginning with brands that already exist. And that is sometimes a huge challenge because they have rules, these brands, they have parameters, they have things that already exist, and sometimes it is really tough to make something out. And this is why we're not going to develop a complete transmedia strategies for all of the brands. For us, sometimes it doesn't make sense. but I'll come back to my point, sorry. But the philosophy, when you create a new IP, knowing that you have the possibility of making a game on different platforms, and now with the fact that we're present in different mediums, it gives us the ability to create that content from the beginning and plan a lot more where we want to go and which route we want to take. We work with 3 main pillars, and we need to respect those. We call it the CSB. It's the creative, the strategy, and the business. In our group, we do the creative part. Do we create everything? No. But we hire the creative people to work with us and to work with the different creative teams within the brand. So technically, there are 3 groups together. Sometimes we create it ourselves in the group. I'll give an example of that a little bit later on. But we don't take any what I call taking a command from a brand. Make a comic for us. We're not going to do that. We sit with the team, we understand the brand, we see the narrative outline, we work with them, and then we propose something that makes sense. That makes sense for the 2 other points, that it fits into a strategy of the brand. A lot of people on the team, they come from marketing, and that part is crucial to us. You need to have a marketing strategy, but at the same time, it needs to fit within the brand. We're not going to make a kiddie version of Assassin's Creed. It has the word assassin in it. Try to sell that to a network in the US where they show kid shows. Parents are going to take the phone. They're going to call in and say, you have a show that's called Assassin. Why don't you call it The Killers? Sometimes people aren't ready for it. So you really need to think about it when you do it on the strategy side. We also don't have, which is sometimes difficult, but we try not to have the checklist approach. So you have that Excel sheet. Did we do the comic? Did we do the novel? Did we do the app? Did we do this? Did we do this? Sometimes it works for a brand because your brand is rich enough, but sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes transmedia strategy for a brand could be technically 2 products, maybe 3, not more than that, because the universe is not rich enough. And you'll see the demand. It's something that we have in the game industry, is that we're really connected to our consumers with all the forums and all the tools that we have. And that is something that I have to agree is some sort of an edge, because we have that contact. We get that exchange, which we believe is crucial in what we do. The other part is that for us, we're not going to develop a project that is not potentially profitable. We're not going to give anything for free. It's a product. If you give it for free, in our sense, it's marketing. You need to have a business plan behind everything you do. If you give it for free, for us, it doesn't work. And are you really giving value to what you create if it's for free? A lot of products are free out there. I mean, the music industry has learned it the hard way. But for us, you need to set the right price. So behind everything we do, you need to have a business strategy, and it needs to be profitable. We have a key role and a position on each brand that we're pushing to have. We don't have it on each brand. It's called a puzzle maker. On Assassin's Creed, the guy's name is Jean Guédon. He's a director of content for the brand. And for us, that position is crucial. He's in the group developing the games. He makes sure that all the pieces fit into a puzzle. He does not create content. He doesn't develop a strategy of what needs to be developed for the brand. But he's kind of like a gatekeeper, making sure that a big company like UB, with deals signed all over the place, that we have this point person that makes sure that he's the guardian of what is being created and making sure that it fits. And we work with this guy every day. And for us, as an example, we're trying to push that each brand have someone like that. Because in the end, it's the only way to have quality products. Assassin's Creed. So it's going to be your case today. The comic book series that came out in 2010. Like I say, we have sometimes different approaches. Sometimes we develop everything in-house, but sometimes we're not comic book writers. We're not comic book, artists. So we went and looked for the best people that know the brand, understand the brand, And these guys were Cameron Stewart and Carl Kirsch. Both of them are Eisner winners, which is, in the comic book world, the equivalent of the Oscars. And funny enough, these guys are 2 blocks away from our Montreal studio. So that was pure luck, but we're really extremely happy about that. So what we did with those guys, we gave them a test. At the beginning, we wanted to do a comic book series with Ezio Auditore, the famous assassin of Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations. 3 games. It's the Renaissance era, and he's really a very interesting and remarkable character. So we wanted to do a comic book series with him. So we worked with these 2 guys. They came up with these 3 pages, these tests. We wanted to make sure that they understand the Assassin's Creed world. But the more and more that we were working with these guys, we saw that they really and truly understood the brand. And we saw that these guys had great ideas, so we pushed it a little bit further. So they came up with Assassin's Creed The Fall. It's not at all a comic book about Ezio. It's a comic book about a new assassin that so far has only been developed on the comic book. It's not part of any game, but the entire universe of Assassin's Creed is deeply embedded in the storyline. He's an assassin, like Ezio. You saw the machine, the Animus. There's a subject in the game. We call him Subject. In the game, it's Desmond Miles. And in the case of the comic, it's Daniel Cross. And we have the 3 issues. It was critically acclaimed by IGN, 9 out of 10. And we got a couple of quotes where it made us really happy because it was quoted best comic from a video game franchise. And usually, they suck. Not all of them, but usually. And for us, it was crucial to have the quality. It was crucial to have the quality, and that's why we went and got those guys. And they really got it. And that's why we were really happy with what they did. And that is why we're doing a compilation that's going to come out this year. We did the soft cover last year. This year we're doing the compilation that will include a prologue of Assassin's Creed The Chain, which is the pursuit of the character, which is a Russian assassin, Nikolai Orlov. And it was called Assassin's Creed The Chain. We announced it at Comic-Con this year, and it will be available mid-2012. This was a great experience for us, working with external talent, really understanding our brand, connecting themselves to the philosophy of development that we have, and being able to really produce a great transmedia project. The Assassin's Creed Encyclopedia. Why do you make an encyclopedia about a video game? Well, we don't see it as a video game. We see it as a brand that was able to fit 256 pages full of information. And we kept it in narrative. You have no information in there about a video game. It's all in narrative. We made sure that no gaps were part of that universe in the encyclopedia. So we hired, writers to make sure that these gaps were filled. So actually, you have a lot of new content in that encyclopedia, a lot of new and original content. But what we did was fun because part of the production was done in-house, and part of the production was done by the community. Assassin's Creed has a huge following, close to 3 million people on Facebook, unbelievable amounts of people in different forums all across the globe. And what we did on our platform, UB Workshop, we basically said, hey, you think you know the brand? You think you're a good writer? Here's the test. And people fill out the test. They had a 1 or 2 pager to do so we could see their writing skills, to see if they knew the brand. We got hundreds and hundreds of people sending us their work. A lot of them were really bad, to be honest, but a lot of them were really, really good. Good enough that we hired and we paid 5 of them to write what we called articles to be part of the encyclopedia. We were hoping for 1, and we got 5. And what they wrote showed us that we have people that are really following our brand, and it gave us really the knowledge of our brand at the same time. It's a good exercise to do because some people working on the brand actually learn stuff about their brand. And now it has become not only a product, a cool product, but it's also an internal tool of development where we go into details about development, about the history of the organization of the Assassins. And at the same time, it is a beautiful book for one main reason. We have it if some people want to show it, see it after. They're only concept arts created by the artist that are working on the game. There are no 3D images in there. We wanted to have the artsy look. So it is really the concept arts created by the illustrators and concept artists that are part of this great encyclopedia. We also have the novels that are not developed by UB Workshop. We have 4 of them: Assassin's Creed Renaissance, Brotherhood, The Secret Crusade, and Revelations. Some of them, the 2 first ones, are what we call cross-media, because they are telling the stories of the game. The Secret Crusade, it's telling the story of Altair. There's a lot of new storytelling in there, and we feel that is a transmedia project. Revelations, it's kind of like an hybrid, because it's telling the story of the game. It's telling the stories of the short movie I will talk a little bit after, Assassin's Creed Embers. But it's making a lot of the gaps on this great character that does not exist in different mediums. So it's kind of like a hybrid project. Sales figures for that is around 500,000 copies sold worldwide. Assassin's Creed, the French comic, or as we say, the French BD or bande dessinée. It's published by Les Deux Royaumes, which is a publishing house of Ubisoft that operates only in France, Belgium, and Quebec. And the French BD is really something unique. It is really something specialized for certain territories. And they created a new assassin only for this territory. Assassin's Creed Ascendance, short movie, done in 2010, done by UB Workshop. We are firm believers of baby steps. We don't want to go all out and say we're going to do this and this and this and this. Assassin's Creed Ascendance is an example of that. It's an internal production, written internally, produced internally. It's the story of the rise of power of Cesare Borgia. Actually, Ezio, the character, is barely in it. It's mostly about the nemesis that Ezio faces, in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, the game. It's an animation style, and it uses something that for us, the baby step was we developed a pipeline. When I was talking earlier about the fact that we still are inclined to push technology. So we have a group that we work with. We're able today to bridge the gap between video game making and CG animation. Because the environments that you see in Ascendance, and a little bit later on that I'll show in Embers, they're actually the environments that come from the game. So we're reusing some of the assets we created a little bit earlier in earlier games. It was sold on, I'll come back. It was sold on Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, and iTunes. So it was just a digital distribution. Didn't cost a lot of money, and it was profitable. So we respected our CSB. We wanted to make sure that with this first project. Assassin's Creed Embers, a short movie. It's 22-minute, created, written, produced at Ubisoft Montreal. It's actually a great collaboration with different teams. With the team developing the pipeline, with UB Workshop creating the content, with the Assassin's Creed brand, making sure that we're not going AWOL and doing stuff that doesn't work. And at the same time, it is an internal team that did all the animation work. It will be available soon at November 15th. It comes out at the same time as Assassin's Creed Revelations. It will be available on Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, iTunes, and different gaming programs. Basically, we were stuck. Assassin's Creed Revelation was announced that it's the last game with Ezio. Usually you don't get that in games. You never get rid of your hero. But characters were used, the fact that they had an assassin in Assassin's Creed 1. It was Altair. They had Ezio in the second one. Then we came with Brotherhood because we felt we had unfinished business and we have this great character. So we had 2 games with him. Now we have a 3rd game. And when we announced it, people were kind of like, oh, we're tired of Ezio. You know, we want somebody new. Okay. But an assassin cannot die in the game. The character cannot die because you're technically Desmond sitting in the Animus chair going through the memories. So those are parameters of the brand that you're stuck with sometimes. So they can't kill off the character. They cannot tell, the last days of his life. And he needs to have kids because he needs to follow the line of ancestors. So what we did, we pitched to them and says, you guys, we're looking into your marketing, the feedback that's coming, and people are tired of it. So we're going to take care of that for you. We're going to do a short animated film. It comes out at the same time as the game, which is going to deal with the end of his life and give him a noble ending. What was kind of funny is that when we announced the movie at Comic-Con, it turned the tide. People went about, don't get rid of Ezio. We love Ezio. But at the same time, people felt that we were mature enough, to give a noble ending to one of our characters. One of our main characters, basically the hero of our game. Character development can be done greatly in a novel, in a movie. It's a lot tougher to do it in games. And don't forget, we start with the game. And when we have the opportunity to develop on other mediums where we can actually push our characters, well, we try to take full advantage of that. So, we've talked about that. I'll come back a little bit on the points discussed. For us, as a conclusion, it is crucial to create always new points of entry into the brand, and that they are original content, standalone, but always connected to the universe. So that way, ideally for us, someone plays the game, reads the comic, reads the novel, consume all of the products. But each time, when they do that, they get something new and connected to the universe. For us, we want to make sure that we are present worldwide in different markets, push the technical convergence between games and other platforms. As of today, when you see Assassin's Creed Embers, we are ready to develop internally an animated TV series. We've got the tools, we've got the power, and we've got the stories to do it. Thinking ahead by always planting seeds and opening gateways. If anyone gets the chance to see Embers, to read the comics, and if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, you will see that there are many seeds that have been planted. And some of them, and we know today, you'll discover later in other mediums. And of course, we want to push, and it's something you'll probably see in the coming months, new IPs created from the ground up from a game company that will not be launched with a game. We are looking at launching new IPs, not necessarily with a game, but with different mediums. That way, we don't have to invest tens of millions of dollars to produce a game that takes 3 years. When you think you got a good idea, and when you think you got a good brand, why not get it out by using a format or a medium that allows you to get there quicker, get a response, create the audience, and then when you have that, then the game comes out, and it's an easier sell to do at that point.